Welcome to a special series of This Week in Canton City Schools, where we focus on the mental health and wellness of our kids and our families. I'm Jacqueline Power, the Broadcast Media Program Instructor here at the Timken Career Campus of McKinley High School, and your host today. The Canton City School District continues to partner with the Child and Adolescent Behavioral Health Agency. This agency provides a myriad of resources to the Stark County community and, most importantly, to our students within the Canton City School District. Each month, we will feature resources and strategies to help the mental well-being of our young people. On this episode, we are talking with Sarah Hough, Prevention Program Manager, to give us some insight on how we can help our kids build healthy relationships, coping skills, understand their emotions, and how to respond to them. Sit tight. All of that starts right now. As we continue to look for ways to have a healthy, happy, balanced lifestyle, there's no greater need than to work with our mental health and wellness to meet those unique needs of our changing world around us. This series of shows with the Child and Adolescent Behavioral Health Agency will feature all kinds of different ways to address some of the common setbacks we face today. Here with me today, I have Sarah Hough, a part of the prevention program as the manager. So please tell me a little bit about yourself first. We'll start there, kind of where did you grow up, college, that kind of thing.
All right, well, I am Sarah Hough, the Prevention Program Manager, Child and Adolescent. I actually am born and raised in Connecticut. So I'm actually not an Ohioan at all. Transport. So I actually moved to Ohio about 14 years ago when I came to do my master's at Case Western. So all my undergrad, all of that is in Connecticut. Small little hilly town in Connecticut. So it's harder to share because I don't have the Ohio background as much.
Well, Ohio pulled you in and you just never left.
I never left after my master's.
It's one of those places that it sucks you right in. So,
and it's home now.
Yeah, and it is. It feels like home probably naturally. That's just one of those great things about Ohio. So how did you become affiliated with Child and Adolescent Behavioral Health?
So my master's in social work, and I started early childhood. I love the itty bitties. Those are my favorite. And so I started doing a lot of work down in Wayne and Holmes County offering mental health consultation in their community. And it was a grant through the state. And then as good things come to an end, the grant came to an end and I needed to find a new home. And Child and Adolescent had an early childhood position open for therapy. And so I was so excited to see that they were venturing into the world of early childhood mental health. And so I stepped there and never left.
I was going to say, so what positions have you held with the agency?
So I have done a lot of their early childhood therapy and assessment.
Okay.
And then I moved into overseeing some of the consultation programming. So I went from doing a lot of the early childhood therapy to now supervising the consultants doing prevention pieces.
So as the prevention program manager, please explain the prevention program kind of on a daily basis, the age groups that are served within that.
Absolutely. So our prevention team is continuing to grow. So it serves a large portion, but the theme and mission is pretty much the same. So we actually serve children basically through birth up. Into young adulthood. So there's not really a gap in between the ages, it's just what services we offer. But the whole purpose of our prevention program really is to look at the many factors affecting youth life and really help them build resiliency and protective factors. So we look for our early childhood kiddos in particular, so our 0s to 6. We look a lot into their, we use the DECA program, which Devereaux Early Childhood Program, which really looks at protective factors of initiative, self-control, and attachment. And so we go in and try to enhance their environments, whether it's at child care centers or in preschools or in their families, to help make sure they have those needs, and those needs are being met. And so that's our early childhood piece. Then we go into our kindergartners, and then we're really focusing on social and emotional development and learning. So we use a curriculum called Dinosaur School, which is a classroom curriculum used with puppets to help kiddos learn friendship skills, how to do your best at school, emotional regulation, emotions, problem solving, friendship skills. So it kind of covers the early years, if you will. So those are our EC programs. And then we also I know you had mentioned, kind of looked at our Ohio Expulsion Hotline, which we also have for our EC kiddos, for any kiddo in a child care center who's at risk of being removed or expelled from their child care center. We go in and offer technical assistance in 48 hours to hopefully maintain that kiddo in their classroom so that they can be successful, because we know what happens early in life kind of follows them through. So our goal is, we serve it in Stark County, but the prevention hotline that we can talk about and give the number is actually a statewide program.
Great.
So that is our EC peoples. So we have the little ones.
Yes, yes.
And then we also work with upper elementary through high school.
Okay.
And those programs really are in different districts throughout Stark County, and generally grades 3 to 12. And we're really helping the youth in those groups kind of become who they want to be.
Right.
As they branch into the upper elementary, middle school, high school, they're trying to figure out the sense of independence, who they are. So the groups that we offer at the school-based services is those kiddos who really are like, they want to celebrate differences and have maybe some leadership skills within their school program. So we help them kind of be part of this group, kind of have a safe spot to talk about the icks and challenges that happen day-to-day life. And so each of those groups really focuses on building a relationship of trust and honesty that will help the children be their best version. So then they focus on topics such as confidence, self-esteem, decision-making, problem-solving, communication, assertiveness, kind of how to advocate for yourself, identify relationships, and the start of relationship formation. What does that look like? How do you know you have good friendships? How do you know you're in a healthy relationship, depending on the age of the youth, where they're at? And so basically we're kind of giving them the skills like we do with the little ones that they feel like they can handle all the challenges and ick that the youth are facing day to day. So it's kind of a built on from our early childhood where we just want to make sure they have the skills following them up and through.
So your staff works with how many child care centers, and then what are they looking for with kids so young?
So yes, we're in between 14 and 16 child care centers, and the idea actually was when they're in there is really looking on how are they building healthy attachments, helping the staff be able to help them with their social emotional needs. So they're really just kind of helping them identify feelings, helping them problem solve challenges that happen even as a little kid. And so what we actually work a lot with in the early child care centers is not just necessarily looking at the behaviors of the kiddos, but the teachers, and helping them know, like, how do you step inside a little kid's shoe and meet their needs and know that their child-sized problems are real problems too. And so how do we meet them where they're at? So, and then giving them the skills to match those life-size problems.
So what behaviors are you looking to identify and correct before they get to elementary school?
So a lot of it is giving them that self-control piece, kind of teaching them, you know, when you're feeling angry, there's a safe spot you can go, take some deep breaths, counting backwards, just to kind of frustrations happen every day, even as adults.
Yes.
So helping the kiddos be able to identify just a healthy coping skill for that. Obviously, social skills are really important. So, you know, just being able to help them be able to share and take turns and not be aggressive. A lot of it too is some of that just academic pieces of not necessarily the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, if you will, but really just how do you be successful? How do you wait in line? How do you raise your hand? Those skills that they're going to need to follow them in kindergarten. So it's,
well, and I even know, like, when mine were littler and my oldest was around a lot of adults. So the first time I took her somewhere, I think it was like the fair, and she had to wait in line and didn't understand little kids cutting in line or why they were being so loud and why they're pushing. She was just, her mind was blown as to those little behaviors that she'd not really ever seen because she was around a lot of adults. So I feel like when you put them all together in one group, and it's kind of, they learn some not so great behaviors too, like off of each other, that I feel like that young intervention, and you can kind of talk about, okay, well, this is when that's appropriate. This is when it's appropriate to this, and that modeling piece, I think the adults are definitely key. So we talked a little bit about, but I did notice on the prevention page of the website, your program offers several models working with the children. So we kind of walked through those. So let's just do a brief recap of each of these. So we'll start with early child mental health consultation. So let's start there and kind of rehash that one, and then we'll go into each one.
Yeah, absolutely. So our early childhood mental health consultation is the one that we offer to both public, private, and in-home child care centers, where we work with the teachers and the directors to really help build those resiliency factors in the kiddos. So we're looking at the whole classroom environment. Obviously, we're able to help if there's a kiddo that has a little bit more of a need, but we're really working in the environment to build those resiliency factors. So really helping make sure the kiddos can express their needs, make decisions for themselves, has a strong attachment, because we know attachment is huge in terms of any relationship, and then also giving them the self-control pieces.
How about the Ohio preschool expulsion prevention? And I'm not going to lie, when I read that, I thought, oh wow, that sounds really dramatic for preschool, but I've always worked with the big kids. I've never worked with the small ones. I've had my own at home, but in a larger capacity I haven't. So talk a little bit about that program.
So I will talk about it, because it does sound scary.
It sounds strong.
It is very strong, and you'll be surprised at how many young kiddos are actually removed from their child care centers because of behaviors.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of research out that there's a pipeline. If you are told at 3 that you're not really good at playing, it's going to have effects down the road. And so this hotline is that prevention piece of, hey, if you're having a kiddo and they're struggling, call out to someone. There's people available throughout the state, not just Stark County, but we oversee Stark County. We'll come out. Let's just see, maybe this is not the best placement for your kiddo. Maybe they do need more of a public school, or maybe they do need some additional services, but let's not just expel them.
Yeah, throw them out to nothing.
Exactly.
Right.
Let's give them a place that we can either help meet their needs within their center or find the best center for them. So the hotline gives an outlet for parents and teachers who are struggling with kiddos to get someone in as fast as possible. So we have 48 business hours to be out once we receive a phone call from that hotline to observe this kiddo in their classroom and give some support and figure out those next steps. What do we need to go from there? And we've had seen actually throughout the state, but in particular Stark County, that resource has significantly reduced those who are aware of it, the expulsion rate of kiddos. We have seen a decrease in that using this hotline, because it is just helping kiddos get connected, because you don't always know what they're coming in with, and especially with COVID and life happenings and just kind of the world we live in today, they're coming in with a lot more ick. And so we want to make sure that we set them up for success by
kind of getting them to adapt to the environment and giving them those right skills as they can move forward, instead of, okay, well, you're just not a good fit, so you're out. So this at least gives some of those preventative things that you can put in place to help, I guess, post-preventative. That's soon enough. So I feel like that's a good step in the right direction for our kids. So who is or what is Dinah Dinosaur? You mentioned it just a couple minutes ago. So tell me a little bit more about that.
So Dinah Dinosaur is they're literally life-size puppets.
Oh,
they're
very cool.
life-size to me. Only 5'2", so they're life-size to me. But they are Dinah Dinosaur School. Dinah is a dinosaur puppet, life-size. She's the principal, so the kiddos obviously know all about principals, so she kind of checks in on the kiddos. But the program actually uses Wally Problem Solver, who is a life-size boy puppet.
Okay.
And he always has a problem. And so it's for our kindergartners. Right now we're using it with our kindergartners throughout Stark County. And Wally always has a problem. And so the kiddos are detectives, and they help Wally solve the problems. And the problems are related to, kind of talked about this, but school readiness, doing your best at school. You were talking about a little bit, how do you concentrate? How do you ignore some of those problem behaviors that other kiddos might be experiencing during a story time or something like that? They go into talking about, doing your best, concentrating. We also focus on emotions, so kind of figuring out not just happy, mad, sad, but kind of getting into those stronger, bigger emotions of, feeling frustrated and proud as they get into those age groups, and then how to manage those emotions when they get a little too out of control. So we do a whole thing with Tiny Turtle, who talks about anger management and kind of gives them secrets to cooling down, so that, when your friends are maybe making the best choices or making you feel a little angry, or they take something for you, how do you effectively calm yourself down? And then the next lesson after that is problem solving. So what can you do? And they go through a whole schema of different problem solving, social skill, problem solving solutions. So, you know, maybe we have to trade and take turns, or maybe we have to get a timer, or maybe we need some help from a grown-up at this point. So they get to learn all those skills. And then as they're wrapping up, we're really starting to talk about friendships. And not just how do you be a friend, how do you introduce yourself, but like what makes a good friend? Your friends are going to stop and listen to you. So we really encourage those problem solving skills, or those friendship skills that go along with problem solving as they move into
starting those healthy relationships early so that it, you know, those patterns then can continue. And so now how about your behavioral prevention services, that upper elementary to high school?
Okay, so those are our programs that we kind of talked about a little bit, that from grades 3 to 12. And they're really working on helping the kiddos just learn to make best decisions for them. So the focus on all of those groups, I'll name the groups here in a second, but the general message and focus is all the same. They just have different names, of course, to confuse people. But the whole idea is that they're building relationships within the communities that they attend school so that they can work on their own self-confidence, self-esteem, against decision-making, problem-solving, communication, how to be assertive but not aggressive. How do you express your needs without coming off too rough, if you will. Being able to self-advocate and knowing what your needs are and who you are. So those are the themes. So for our upper elementary, so 3 to 5, we use the life skills curriculum. Again, same topics. For our middle school, it's called All Stars Core, and then our high school is called CAST.
Tell me a little bit more about CAST, because I mean, so merging into more of the big kids to where, you know, as a high school teacher, I can start to think about, okay, what is that, and how do I encourage my kids? So yeah, tell me about CAST.
Okay, yeah, so CAST really is kind of that, we know that high school age, we get more introduced to more peer pressure, more risky behaviors potentially that they can be exposed to. And so CAS is really helping them decide, like, how do you overcome those adverse things that may twist your arm a little bit, and you may want to try something, but there could be consequences. So it's really kind of helping the teens think through situations and, you know, long-term situations. Yes, maybe you get in a fight today, but that could impact your long run. It doesn't feel like that, because sometimes we don't have that long thought process of what happens tomorrow. So it's really helping them be able to kind of think, who is the person I want to be, and how do I get there? So it's kind of that
bigger picture. Bigger picture, like where am I going next? So the past couple years, I understand you've worked with local YMCAs to help students with coping skills, leadership skills, closing that learning gap. We talk about that a lot in education. So elaborate on this partnership with the Y and maybe any of your other community partners.
Yes, so we are partnered with the YMCAs of Western and Central Ohio, or Stark County in Ohio. So there are up to 23 sites at a given time that we are partnering with, and then the Boys and Girls Club of Massillon. And so we are really helping in the after-school programs to help those kiddos just have another safe person to talk to. Helping the staff there, you know, they're getting the kids right after school, so they're trying to manage all the emotions that happen at school, plus the homework, plus they are ready to get let loose. They've been structured all day. So the prevention staff is there to support both the youth and the staff that are there in terms of building those resiliency factors. If you need an outlet after school, like we're a safe person you can come talk to. Maybe it is just, I'm not getting along with this person and I see him all day at school and now I see him after school, so how do we give you some skills that you guys could work on together? And then obviously being that support for them with some social emotional coaching when they're in those programs after school.
So yeah, you offer some youth services and programming which focus more on the teenage population. So with that, tell me a little bit about the Stark County Youth-Led Program. You know, who's eligible to be in the group? Where do you meet? What's the purpose?
All right, I'm going to kind of do them side by side because the two community groups that we have are kind of sisters of each other, if you will. So we have our Stark County Youth-Led Prevention, and then we have a new group that you'll see a lot in the community coming out here in the next few weeks to a month. But Community Impact Coalition, and they're both community-based prevention that focuses on giving youth a voice so that they can share their experiences and create communication and change throughout Stark County. So our youth-led group is geared towards students between the ages of 12 and 17. And basically, they're just the kiddos who, have had some struggles possibly, and they want to have a voice, and they want to get their message out to Stark County and help improve the lives of youth around them who are kind of their peers. And they just want to make a difference in the community. So they have done many different things. They put together around the holidays, they put together like self-care kits. They do a lot of education cards for youth and the community. Just, they did one that was called It's Not Just a Myth, and it had a lot of information about substance abuse and just what you need to know kind of pieces. Like you hear things, but they're not always the truth. And so they have spent a lot of time on that piece. And then our Community Impact Coalition will be a sister site of that we received a grant for, that we're going to gear towards more of that 18 to 24 age group. We know those are transitional age, and they kind of are seen as adults, but I don't know about anyone else, but when I was 18, I was not fully ready to be an adult.
I really do feel like, even if you listen to teenagers, they absolutely will tell you what they think. They will absolutely, and you can kind of see them in their own special way, kind of relate to each other, give advice to each other, and it's nice to see that there's some structure to that so that it's the right kind of advice and kind of pointing them in the right kind of directions.
Exactly. So the youth lead it. We just have mentors and facilitators there just to make sure it doesn't go too far off course, just like you were saying.
Yeah.
And ideally, this new group, what we're really hoping is that will help self-motivate, take initiative, learn some leadership qualities, and as the youth have desires to kind of learn and grow, learn communication skills, have compassion and passion for helping others, empathy, and creating just a strong place to be able to problem solve together. So the whole purpose is letting youth come together to kind of focus on mental health and kind of understand their understanding, what they're experiencing, and then for the wellness to kind of impact the day-to-day life. How do you build wellness into your day? Because the ick's not going to always go away, but how do you manage that? So those groups, like I said, the youth-led one is up and running. Our Community Impact Coalition one will be running in January, but they both meet same day, same place, just different times. So our younger group meets 5 to 7 on Wednesdays. And then starting in January, our older group will meet from 6:30 to 8:30. And they're located at the Myers Lake Village Hall.
And if we would like to be a part of this group, or students would like to be a part of it, who do they contact?
So actually, the youth-led program actually has their own email address at Child and Adolescent. So is SCYLP@childandadolescent.org, and they can reach out either to Marissa Cooney, who oversees that program. And I can write down these emails for you, but it's M. Cooney, so MCOONEY @childandadolescent, or myself as well, and mine's just Hough @childandadolescent.org.
Yeah, I really feel like, kind of as we wrap up, we all know the last couple years have been much more challenging than other years. I mean, we can keep saying that till we're probably blue in the face. What are some of the trends that continue to impact our youth, kind of at all the age levels?
So obviously, we've missed a lot of social interactions when we were social distancing. So I'm really getting back into developing friendship skills, social skills, kind of recognizing what is safe practice. We've done so much on the internet and social media, and there's definitely a place and time for it. But how is that impacting our youth? Because we kind of got comfortable having a screen in front of us to communicate. So how do you get them to be able to do interviews and get used to kind of when life goes back to normal, if you will. So we're seeing a lot of the general social skills. Our little ones, we're definitely seeing some developmental pieces, just milestones in terms of, you learn faster with your peers. And when you're not with your peers, you're not necessarily learning those skills. And then just really helping them with that, building that self-confidence and self-esteem. Because we, again, have been a little bit more guarded. We've had our faces hidden. So there's a lot of just rebuilding that confidence in and self-esteem in our young ones.
And it's kind of, the holidays are upon us, so it's that magical season. So what kind of tips can you give parents to help minimize some of those overzealous behavioral and those stressors that sometimes the holidays can present for our kids?
Yeah, so as much as kiddos are not going to like what I'm going to say, having some structure and consistency is best. We know kiddos strive on routine.
Yes.
Obviously, our older ones, they want to sleep in a little bit. School starts way earlier, that's okay, but kind of keeping that daily structure and routine so that they know what to expect. That is probably my number one thing I would tell parents is routine and structure. And just enjoying that time together. You know, we know that any strategy to deal with behaviors is only good as the foundation it's built on, which is relationships. So enjoy that time together.
I agree.
No matter what age, you only get it once. So definitely enjoying that time together is another huge piece.
All right, so provide us one more time how we can get in touch with you guys, either the general one or maybe some of the more specific emails or websites.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously our email address is right here, but if you're interested for more information on any of our community impact groups, you are welcome to reach out to, I'm going to spell it again for you. It's SCYLP@childandadolescent.org, or you can always give us a call at 330-433-6075, and we can guide you and visit our website. All the information for all our programming is on there.
Thank you so much for all of that information and all those resources. Thank you for being here today. For more information on this topic and so much more, you can visit the CNA website, www.childandadolescent.org, or you can call the CNA office, like we just said, 330-433-6075. Thanks, as always, to Dan Mucci, Marketing and Development Coordinator, Office of Mission Advancement of Child and Adolescent Behavioral Health, for helping to coordinate this episode and future episodes in this partnership. As for the TV11 staff, we'll continue to bring you an inside look at the district each week during the regular school year, in addition to this series of shows on mental health and wellness. So if you're a staff member and would like to have a feature story on our program, please email me at power_j@ccsdistrict.org, and our station administrator, Bill Widener, at Widener_B@ccsdistrict.org. We'd love to have you into the studio to showcase the valuable experiences our kids have here at the Canton City School District and the supports we have in place to educate the whole child. Please visit our website at ccstv11.com, where you can get information on all of our shows and watch us on your favorite device. We'll see you next time.